We are counting down the 25 forgotten British recipes that took just 10 minutes to make. Dishes buried in yellowed cookbooks and faded recipe cards, now all but vanished from modern kitchens. These were the quick fixes of post-war Britain, the suppers thrown together after long shifts, the breakfasts that fueled factory floors, and the savories that closed out Sunday dinners before anyone had heard of a microwave. From toast-based wonders to stove-top miracles, each entry proves that speed and soul were never strangers in the British kitchen. Expect unfamiliar names, surprising ingredients, and flavors that once defined tea time across the nation. Which lightning-fast classic claims the top spot? Let us begin our countdown with number 25. Number 25. Milk toast offered the gentle comfort when illness crept through the household, or when the cupboards held little else. Housewives warmed a cup of milk with a knob of butter and a pinch of salt. They poured it over slices of day-old bread, softening them into something between soup and supper. Mrs. Beeton's household guides recommended it for invalids and young children. Its blandness was considered medicinal in an era before antibiotics. The dish took barely 5 minutes to make, yet its warmth could soothe a fever or calm a restless child. In homes where bread was plentiful but variety was not, milk toast appeared without ceremony. A quiet answer to hunger that asked nothing of the cook but patience. It vanished as convenience foods arrived, too plain for a generation raised on flavor. Yet those who remember it speak of the comfort found in that simple sodden slice. Number 24. Cheese dreams floated through British kitchens in the 1930s and 40s, a name that promised more than the dish delivered, yet delivered enough to earn a place in countless handwritten recipe books. 2 slices of bread sandwiched a thick layer of grated cheese, sometimes with a whisper of mustard or a shake of Worcestershire sauce. The whole thing was fried in butter until golden and molten. The sizzle of bread hitting the pan signaled supper in under 7 minutes. Factory girls carried cheese dreams wrapped in greaseproof paper, cold but still satisfying by lunchtime. Wartime cookery leaflets praised them as economical and filling, a meal that stretched the cheese ration further than a simple slice ever could. The name itself, whimsical and hopeful, seemed to promise escape from the grey days of rationing. Today the grilled cheese has conquered, but the cheese dream, with its fried edges and buttery heart, sleeps on in forgotten recipe cards. Number 23. Sardines on toast ranked among the fastest suppers in post-war Britain, a dish that required nothing more than a tin opener, a grill, and 5 minutes of patience. Tins of sardines, imported from Portugal and sold for just 9 pence in the early 1950s, stacked high in corner shop windows, their silvery promise of protein waiting for the harried housewife. The fish were laid across thick-cut bread, mashed lightly with a fork, then slid under the grill until the edges crisped and the oil bubbled. A squeeze of lemon, if one could be found, or a splash of vinegar lifted the dish from plain to almost elegant. Fathers claimed the tails were the best part. Children pushed the bones to the side of their plates, and mothers ate whatever remained, standing by the stove. The smell, briny and sharp, lingered in kitchens long after the plates were cleared. Sardines on toast was fuel, not fuss, and it fed a nation in minutes. Number 22. Eggy bread, known in grander circles as poor knights of Windsor, turned stale slices into golden custardy comfort in under 10 minutes. Housewives whisked eggs with a splash of milk, dipped day-old bread into the mixture, and fried each slice in dripping or margarine until the edges crisped and the center stayed soft. The dish appeared in cookery books dating back to the 14th century, its name a nod to impoverished knights who could no longer afford meat but refused to waste good bread. By the 1950s, it had become a tea-time staple, served with a sprinkle of sugar or a smear of jam for children, or plain with a rasher of bacon for working men. The scent of frying egg and toasting bread filled small kitchens, a signal that something warm and filling was moments away. It cost almost nothing, used up what might otherwise spoil, and satisfied in a way that plain toast never could. Number 21. Bloater paste on toast brought the unmistakable tang of the sea to landlocked tables, a reminder of Britain's long love affair with preserved fish. Bloaters, whole smoked herring with their guts intact, were pounded into a paste with butter and a pinch of mace, then spread thick on hot toast. The paste could be bought in small ceramic pots from fishmongers, or made at home in under 10 minutes if the bloater was already smoked. Great Yarmouth, once the bloater capital of England, shipped thousands of barrels inland each year, their pungent aroma a familiar note in railway station buffets and seaside boarding houses. Children either loved or loathed the taste. There was no middle ground. Mothers served it as a quick tea when the day had run long, and fathers spread it thick, chasing every bite with strong tea. Bloater trade collapsed after the 1960s, and with it went the paste, now a curiosity found only in heritage cookbooks. Number 20. Gentleman's Relish, that mysterious anchovy paste in its distinctive white pot, graced the toast racks of officers' messes and modest suburban breakfasts alike. It was invented in 1828, and the recipe remained a closely guarded secret, its blend of anchovies, butter, herbs, and spices unchanged for over a century. A thin scrape on hot buttered toast, eaten in under 5 minutes, was considered the proper way to start a gentleman's day. By the 1950s, patum pepperium, as it was formerly known, had migrated from club dining rooms to corner shops, though it never quite shook its upper crust reputation. The taste, intensely salty and faintly mysterious, divided households. Some spread it thin as a whisper, others slathered it thick enough to make the eyes water. Cookbooks of the era suggested it as a savory, the small, sharp course served after pudding to cleanse the palate before port. Today, the white pots still appear on shelves, but the ritual of gentleman's relish toast has faded into quiet memory. Number 19. Scotch woodcock arrived at the table as a savory, that peculiarly British course designed to close a meal with salt rather than sugar. Scrambled eggs, cooked soft and creamy, were spooned over hot buttered toast spread with anchovy paste, the whole dish assembled in under 8 minutes. Despite its name, no game bird appeared. The Scotch was a wink, the woodcock a jest. Victorian and Edwardian cookbooks listed it among the essential savories. Served in small portions after the pudding course at formal dinners. By the 1930s, it had become a quick supper for those who fancied something rich and salty before bed. The combination of soft egg and sharp anchovy struck a balance that modern palates rarely encounter. Housewives who remembered it from their mothers' tables sometimes recreated it for children who wrinkled noses at the name and asked for beans instead. Scotch woodcock slipped from menus as the savory course itself disappeared, a casualty of changing tastes and simpler suppers. Number 18. Angels on horseback trotted out at the end of grand dinners, a savory that took barely 10 minutes yet carried an air of occasion. Fresh oysters, plump and briny, were wrapped in rashers of streaky bacon, skewered and grilled until the bacon crisped and the oyster just warmed through. The dish appeared in Mrs. Beeton, and countless Edwardian entertaining guides recommended as a palate cleanser before the port was poured. In coastal towns, where oysters remained cheap well into the 20th century, angels on horseback were a regular treat, though inland they signaled celebration. The sizzle of bacon fat and the faint mineral tang of oyster filled dining rooms with anticipation. Children were rarely offered a taste. This was adult territory, a dish that spoke of sophistication even in modest homes. As oyster prices climbed, and the savory course faded. Angels on horseback retreated to nostalgic cookbooks, remembered now mostly by those who once watched their grandmothers prepare them. Number 17. Devils on horseback followed their angelic cousins, swapping oysters for prunes in a savory that balanced sweet, salty, and smoky in a single bite. Pitted prunes, sometimes stuffed with a sliver of almond or a dab of chutney, were wrapped in bacon and grilled until caramelized. The dish took under 10 minutes and appeared on buffet tables, at cocktail parties, and as a final flourish after Sunday lunch. Cookbooks from the 1950s praised devils on horseback as economical and impressive, a way to stretch a few rashers into a dish that looked like effort. The sweetness of the prune against the salt of the bacon created a flavor that lingered, surprising guests who expected something simpler. Mothers passed the recipe to daughters, scribbled on index cards or tucked into the margins of worn cookery books. As entertaining styles changed and canapés grew fussier, devils on horseback lost their place, though those who remember them often try to revive the tradition at Christmas. Deviled kidneys sizzled in copper pans across Edwardian breakfast tables, a dish that announced the day with fire and richness. Lamb's kidneys, halved and cored, were fried quickly in butter with a sauce of mustard, Worcestershire, and cayenne, then served on toast. The whole affair took barely 10 minutes, yet its intensity made it a favorite of hunting breakfasts and gentlemen's clubs. By the 1940s, kidneys cost just a few pence at the butcher's, making deviled kidneys an affordable luxury for those with the nerve to try offal. The smell, earthy and pungent, divided kitchens. Some found it irresistible, others fled to the garden. Fathers who remembered the dish from their own childhoods sometimes requested it, watching as mothers navigated the quick, hot cooking that offal demanded. As supermarkets replaced butchers and offal fell from fashion, deviled kidneys retreated to the pages of heritage cookbooks, a taste of old Britain that few now dare to recreate. Number 15. Potted shrimps on toast carried the taste of Morecambe Bear to breakfast tables across the nation. Tiny brown shrimps, peeled and packed in spiced butter, were sold in small pots by fishmongers and seaside vendors, ready to be spread on hot toast in under 5 minutes. The butter, fragrant with mace and nutmeg, melted into the bread as the shrimps warmed, releasing a flavor at once delicate and deeply savory. By the 1930s, potted shrimps had become a staple of railway station buffets and boarding house breakfasts, a portable luxury that required no cooking at all. Families who holidayed in Lancashire brought pots home as souvenirs, rationing them across the weeks until the last shrimp was gone. The tradition of potting shrimps stretched back centuries, a method of preservation that predated refrigeration. Today, potted shrimps linger in a few specialty shops, but the ritual of spreading them on toast, hot from the grill, has all but vanished. Number 14. Drop scones, known in Scotland as Scotch pancakes, fell from griddle to plate in under 10 minutes. Housewives ladled small rounds of batter onto the griddle, watching for bubbles to rise before flipping each scone to a golden finish. The scent of toasting batter filled kitchens on Saturday afternoons. Served warm with butter and jam, or stacked cold for the next day's lunchbox, drop scones bridged the gap between bread and cake. Women's Institute cookery demonstrations featured them as the perfect beginner's recipe. In the Highlands, they appeared at every croft table, and in the cities, they marked the end of a busy week. As shop-bought pancakes arrived in plastic packs, the homemade drop scone faded, its quick magic replaced by convenience. Number 13. Singing hinnies earned their name from the sizzle they made on the griddle, a Northumbrian tea-time treat that could be mixed, cooked, and eaten in under 10 minutes. The dough, rich with lard and currants, was rolled flat and fried until golden. then split and spread with butter while still warm. Pit villagers across Durham and Northumberland knew the sound well, a hiss and crackle that promised something sweet after a day underground. The recipe appeared in handwritten books passed from mother to daughter, each family claiming their version was best. Some added a splash of cream, others insisted on beef dripping for the richest flavor. Children clustered around the stove, waiting for the first hinny to emerge, fighting over the crispest edge. As coal mines closed and families scattered, singing hinnies retreated to heritage festivals and nostalgic bake sales, their song now rarely heard. Number 12. Pikelets bubbled on griddles across the Midlands, a yeasted cousin to the crumpet that took just minutes to cook once the batter had risen. Thinner and lacier than their holy relatives, pikelets were fried on one side only, leaving the top soft and porous, perfect for soaking up melted butter. Mothers mixed the batter in the morning, left it to prove by the fire, and fried pikelets for tea in under 10 minutes. The smell of yeast and toasting batter marked the transition from afternoon to evening, a signal that the day's work was nearly done. In Staffordshire and Derbyshire, pikelets outsold crumpets well into the 1960s, their softer texture preferred for spreading with jam or golden syrup. Children ate them stacked 3 high, butter pooling in every crater. As crumpets claimed the national spotlight, pikelets slipped into regional obscurity, now found only in local bakeries and the memories of those who grew up with them. Number 11. Oat cakes, the savoury staple of Staffordshire, cooked in under 5 minutes on a flat griddle, their lacy surface perfect for wrapping around bacon, cheese, or a fried egg. Unlike Scottish oatcakes, these were soft and pliable, made from oatmeal, flour, and yeast, poured thin onto a hot bake stone. Potteries workers carried them to the factory, folded around whatever filling could be spared, a portable meal that needed no cutlery. By the 1950s, oatcake shops dotted the streets of Stoke-on-Trent, selling them hot from the griddle to queues of hungry workers. The taste, faintly sour from the yeast and nutty from the oats, paired with almost anything. Mothers kept a stack under a tea towel, ready to be filled at a moment's notice. As the potteries declined and supermarkets rose, the oatcake shops thinned, though a few survive, guarding a recipe that once fed an industry. Number 10. Pan Haggerty layered potatoes, onions, and cheese in a single pan, and could be cooked in under 10 minutes if the slices were thin enough. The dish came from Northumberland, a miner's supper that required no oven, only a heavy skillet and a little patience. Potatoes and onions were fried together until soft, then topped with grated cheese and flashed under the grill until bubbling. The scent of caramelized onion and melting cheese filled cramped terraces. Families ate it straight from the pan, forks scraping the crispy bottom layer that everyone secretly wanted. Recipes varied from village to village, some adding a splash of milk, others insisting on lard rather than butter. As ovens became standard and gratins grew fashionable, Pan Haggerty lost its place, remembered now mainly in the northeast. Number 9. Rumble de Thumps crossed the border from Scotland, a quick mash of potatoes, cabbage, and cheese that could be made in under 10 minutes if the vegetables were already cooked. Leftover tatties and greens were fried together with butter, then topped with cheese and grilled until golden. The name, playful and strange, delighted children who asked for it by pointing at the pan. Farmhouse kitchens across the borders served rumble de thumps as a main course or a side, depending on what else the larder held. The dish wasted nothing, turning yesterday's vegetables into something new and comforting. Mothers claimed it tasted better the second time around, the flavors melding overnight. As convenience foods crowded out leftovers, rumble de thumps retreated to heritage cookbooks and Scottish food festivals, a casualty of the throwaway age. Number 8. Stovies simmered on Scottish stovetops, a one-pot wonder of potatoes, onions, and whatever meat scraps remained from the Sunday roast. Cooked low and slow, traditional stovies took hours, but thrifty housewives developed a quick version, frying thinly sliced potatoes in dripping and onions until soft and golden in under 10 minutes. The dish appeared in mining towns and fishing villages alike, a way to stretch a little meat a long way. Fathers came home to the smell of frying onions, knowing that supper, however simple, was ready. Children scraped plates clean, soaking up the last of the dripping with hunks of bread. Stovies required no recipe, only instinct and whatever the pantry offered. As kitchens modernized and ready meals arrived, the quick stovey faded, though its memory lingers in the stories of those who grew up with the smell of frying tatties. Savory mince stretched a few ounces of beef into a meal for the whole family, cooked in under 10 minutes and served on toast or with mashed potatoes. Housewives browned mince with onions, added a splash of gravy browning and a shake of Worcestershire sauce, then simmered until thick and rich. The dish appeared on tables across Britain whenever the budget ran thin, filling bellies without emptying purses. Ministry of Food leaflets during rationing praised savory mince as economical and nourishing, a way to make the meat ration go further. Children ate it without complaint, mopping up the gravy with bread, while parents stretched the pot with extra onions or a handful of oats. The smell of frying mince and onions became the scent of weekday suppers, familiar and unromantic. Savory mince never aspired to elegance, but it kept families fed, a dish born of necessity that faded as prosperity returned. Number 6. Creamed mushrooms on toast brought richness to breakfast or supper tables, cooked in under 10 minutes and served steaming on thick-cut bread. Field mushrooms, gathered from damp pastures or bought for a few pence at market, were sliced and fried in butter, then simmered with a splash of cream and a pinch of salt. The sauce, thick and earthy, soaked into the toast as it reached the plate. Edwardian cookery books listed creamed mushrooms among the essential breakfast dishes. By the 1940s, the dish had migrated to modest suppers, a quick meal when little else was to hand. The smell of frying mushrooms, dark and savory, promised comfort on damp autumn evenings. As breakfast shrank to cereal and toast, creamed mushrooms lost their place, now a rarity even among those who remember their grandmothers serving them. Welsh rarebit reigned as the king of cheese on toast, a dish that elevated simple ingredients into something rich and satisfying in under 10 minutes. Grated cheese was melted with butter, mustard, and a splash of ale or milk, then poured over toast and grilled until bubbling and golden. The dish appeared in cookery books dating back to the 18th century, its name a gentle joke at Welsh expense. By the 1950s, rarebit had become a fixture of cafes and home kitchens alike, a quick supper that asked little of the cook, but delivered comfort in every bite. The smell of melting cheese and sharp mustard filled small kitchens, drawing families to the table before the dish could cool. Some added Worcestershire sauce, others swore by a pinch of cayenne. Welsh rarebit never pretended to be more than it was, yet its simplicity made it endure. Today, it lingers on gastropub menus, a nostalgic nod to the suppers of old. Number 4. Buck rarebit added a golden crown to its Welsh cousin, a fried or poached egg perched atop the bubbling cheese. The dish took barely 2 minutes longer to prepare, yet the runny yolk transformed a simple supper into something almost luxurious. Edwardian cookery books listed buck rarebit among the essential savories, served at the end of formal dinners or as a restorative after a night out. By the 1930s, it had become a favorite of bachelors and boarding house cooks, a meal that required no skill beyond timing the egg. The moment the yolk broke, golden rivers pooled across the cheese, soaking into the toast beneath. Children watched wide-eyed as fathers performed the ritual, forks poised to catch the first rich bite. Buck rarebit demanded to be eaten immediately, a dish that lost its magic the moment it cooled. Its decline mirrored that of the savory course itself, a casualty of simpler times. Number 3. Hasty pudding lived up to its name, a stovetop dessert that could be made in under 10 minutes from nothing more than flour, milk, butter, and sugar. Housewives stirred the mixture over a low flame until it thickened into a smooth, sweet porridge, then served it warm with a drizzle of treacle or a sprinkle of nutmeg. The recipe appeared in cookery books dating back to the 17th century, a standby when time was short and cupboards were bare. Children ate it by the spoonful, its blandness comforting rather than dull. In lean times, hasty pudding filled the gap between meals, a dish that asked nothing of the cook but a few minutes' attention. Mothers made it when illness kept children home or when the shopping had yet to be done. As puddings grew fancier and instant desserts arrived, hasty pudding slipped from memory, its very name a reminder of the urgency that once shaped the kitchen. Bread and milk offered the simplest comfort. It took under 5 minutes and required only stale bread, warm milk, and a little sugar. Cubed bread was placed in a bowl, hot milk poured over, and the whole thing sweetened to taste. Children recovering from illness ate it by the spoonful, its softness gentle on sore throats. Elderly grandparents requested it when appetite failed, finding in its blandness a return to childhood. The dish appeared in household guides as a remedy for the sick and a supper for the frugal, costing almost nothing yet filling bellies with warmth. Some added a scrape of butter, others a pinch of cinnamon. Bread and milk was never glamorous, but it was always there, waiting in the wings when nothing else would do. As kitchens filled with choice, the dish retreated to the margins, remembered now only by those who once found comfort in its quiet warmth. And finally, in first place, number 1, cheese and onion. The most enduring of all quick British suppers, it claimed the top spot for its sheer ubiquity and speed. A thick slice of bread, topped with sliced raw onion and a generous layer of grated cheese, was grilled until the cheese bubbled and the onion softened, the whole dish ready in under 7 minutes. It appeared on tables across every class and region, a meal that required no recipe, only instinct. Factory workers ate it after night shifts. Children devoured it after school. Mothers made it when the day had run too long for anything else. The smell of melting cheese and sweet onion filled kitchens, a signal that supper, however humble, was served. Cheese and onion asked nothing of the cook but presence, yet it delivered comfort that fancier dishes rarely matched. Simplicity was its genius, a reminder that the best recipes are often the quickest. Across all 25 entries, from the gentle comfort of milk toast to the triumphant simplicity of cheese and onion, these forgotten recipes prove that speed and soul were never enemies in the British kitchen. The common thread is resourcefulness, the ability to conjure something warm from whatever the larder held in the few spare minutes between work and rest. Together, they are proof that even the fastest meals can carry memory, comfort, and the quiet pride of making something out of almost nothing.